Hello everyone, welcome once again to our discussion about ellipse. So the focus of today's discussion is the derivation of the standard form of the equation of an ellipse. So once again, this is Engineer Handel de la Serrana Magnanao, and I would like to take this opportunity also to thank once again Professor Dave for his lecture materials. Part of it, I use it in this presentation, and also to my colleagues. Thank you so much for allowing me to use your material in this video lecture recording. Okay, so as I mentioned, the focus of this discussion is the derivation of the standard form of the equation of the ellipse. But before going to the derivation, let us recall the basic concept of an ellipse. So ellipse can be formed by cutting a cone. As you can see here on the right side, we have here a double napped circular cone. So if we cut the cone parallel to its base like this, so we will obtain a conic section called a circle. But if we cut the cone in such a way that uh, the plane intersect the cone in this orientation, so the conic section that we will obtain is an ellipse. Okay, so if parallel to the plane, the cutting of the plane to the cone, so we will get the circle. But if we incline it a little bit like this, and then we will get an ellipse. The details of this can be found from the source written below. So we have here the basic definition of an ellipse. Is the set of all points P in a plane such that the sum of the distances of P from two fixed points on the plane is constant, and it is called 2A. So if you have here the two fixed point, call this as F1, call this point as F2, and we have a point here. So if you connect these 2 points, let this point be equal to P, and then when you connect this, so we have here PF1, the distance from P to F1, so we have PF1, and we have the distance from P to F2, we call it PF2. So when you sum up the two distances, PF1 plus PF2 equal to a constant, which is equal to 2A. So this is the basis of our derivation. Okay, so F1 and F2 are called foci and denoted by this F1 and F2. So as mentioned, ellipse can be defined as a point on a plane, okay, around these two fixed point foci. And when you move this, or when you measure this distance, this point P to F1 and also to F2, and let these distances be equal to R1 and R2, and when you add them, as I've shown a while ago, R1 plus R2 is equal to 2A. It's a constant. Okay, this is a constant. So wherever is the point P revolving around these two fixed points, so something like this. So when it revolves around the two fixed point foci, then we will have this graph, an ellipse. And if you have noticed, connecting the two points, the focus one F1 and focus to F2, so this is the line segment, and in the middle of it, we have here the center of the ellipse. And this has two axes of symmetry. We have the major axis. This is the major axis in this orientation class. This line is the major axis, and the other line, this is what we call the minor axis. Okay? As mentioned in the previous video, we just need this very important points. Plus, we have 5 points here. We called it the vertex. We can call it V1. We have here V2, and we have here F1. We have F2, and we have here the center of an ellipse. And when you graph this, this is the standard form of an ellipse. So the right side is equal to 1. If the right side of this expression on the left side equal to 1 on the right side, then we can say that this is a standard form of an ellipse. And the length of the major axis equal to 2a. So this is the distance from vertex to vertex. So these are the vertices of this ellipse, V1 and V2. So this is our V2. So the distance from V1 to V2, this is the length of the major axis, which is equal to 2a. And the distance from, we have here the co-vertex, we can call this as B1, and this is B2. So the distance from B1 to B2, these two co-vertices, is equal to 2b. Okay, and the coordinates of these vertices, as you can see here, the vertex 1, V1, is on the same line as the x-axis. This is our x-axis. This is our y-axis. So the abscissa here is also, the ordinate here is also equal to 0. But the abscissa is, that is the distance from the center towards V1, and that is equal to a. Since this is to the left side of the origin, so this will be negative a. And to the right side, this is positive a, distance from the center to the vertex 2, V2. And again, the ordinate is equal to 0 because it's on the x-axis. And from the center going up at this point, for our B1, the coordinates here, for the abscissa, that is equal to 0 because that is on the y-axis. So we have here the abscissa equal to 0, but the ordinate coming from the origin going up, and this is B, so we have positive B. Okay, and then from the center going down at this point, B2, so the abscissa again is 0 because that is on the y-axis, and the ordinate is negative b since this is below the x-axis. So these are the vertices of these important points. Of course, the center has the coordinates 0 and 0. So that is the origin. The distance from the center to any of the focus equal to c. Okay, so this distance equal to c, and this is similar to this one. This distance is also equal to c. So if the ellipse is by the way, if you look at this one class, the a here, the major axis, which is under x squared, so it means that the major axis is the x-axis and the minor axis is the y-axis. But if you have an expression or an equation, something like this class, that the a here is under the y squared, so we can say that the major axis is the y-axis, Okay, this is the major axis, and the minor axis is the x-axis, something like this. So we have here, in this case, a is greater than b, which is a is under the y as the bigger number, or the larger number is under the y squared. So the major axis is the y-axis for the ellipse, or for an ellipse that is having a center at 0, 0, or at the origin. Okay, so this can also be expressed in terms of h and k, where the center is no longer at the origin. For example, the center is here, coordinates h and k, so we can express the standard form in this manner. Okay, generally this is a squared, this is b squared, but we have just a specific example here where our a squared is equal to 4, b squared is equal to 3. So the h here, that is the horizontal shift. If you have the sign between x and h is minus, then it means that it is shifted to the right horizontally. And for k, if you have the sign between y and k is negative, then shifted above. It means our k is positive. But if it happens that the equation becomes like this, x plus h then squared, and y minus or plus k squared, so you have to express this in this manner, minus minus. So you can write this as x minus minus h squared plus y minus minus k squared. So in this case, we have a negative h and negative k. So shifted to the left, if this is negative, shifted to the left, and this is negative, shifted down. Okay, so that's the other possible uh, scenario for our ellipse in standard form, where the center is not at the origin. Okay, going back to the basic definition of an ellipse. So we have here the distance, as mentioned a while ago. If you have this distance from a point to focus 2 or focus 1, whichever is focus 1 or focus 2 here, and then you just sum up these distances, this distance here and also this distance, then we have a constant equal to 2a. Okay, so if we call this as r1 and this is r2, so as shown a while ago, r1 plus r2 is equal to 2a. This is the basis of the derivation of the standard form, which I'm going to show you in a while. Okay, again, if we move this point around these two fixed points, the focus or the foci, then the distances are just the same when you add them up. This distance, when you add this up with this, so that is still equal to 2a. Or if you bring the point here, okay, so the distance, the sum of the distances again is equal to 2a. When you add up this is still equal to 2a. So this is a constant. Sum of the distances is constant, and that is equal to 2a. And that can be defined also. The ellipse can be defined by having two tacks fixed at this point here. Okay, and then you attach a cord or string, cord and string attached here, and then put the pin at this point here, or a ball pin, and then you bring this pin around the two fixed point foci, and you will trace this graph, which is an ellipse. Okay, and then we have here the parts of the ellipse, which I'm going to discuss with you in details in the next video. But now I'm going forward to the derivation of the standard form of the equation of the ellipse. Okay, it started with this two parts here of the distances. This is our PF1 and this is our PF2. Okay, again, this is equal to 2a, which is equal to constant. So if this point class P is put here, okay, what will happen is that this is now our PF1 and this is now our PF2. So when you sum this up with this, so for example, this is your R1, this is R2, so R1 plus R2 equal to 2a. So if you look at this one class, this distance is just equivalent to this distance. Okay, so therefore, if this is 2a, the sum of these distances and they're equal, so it means that this is also a and this is a, so equal to 2a. So it means that this one class is just equal to a. And we know that the distance from the origin towards the co-vertex, this is b, right? And from the center to the focus, we know that this is c, right? This is c. So therefore, we can say that by having this triangle, this is a right triangle class. We form a right triangle here. So considering this right triangle, so we have by Pythagorean theorem, okay, by Pythagorean theorem, we got this relation that the square of the hypotenuse equal to the sum of the squares of the two legs. The legs are b, so b squared plus the other leg is c, c squared. So this is from Pythagorean theorem. So we will base our derivation from this relationship here. Okay, so we get this standard form. This is the equation that we are going to derive. Okay, this is the details of the derivation. So to derive the equation of an ellipse centered at the origin, so we begin with the foci. So the foci, the coordinates of the foci here, these are the foci, this point. In our previous slide, we called this F1 and F2. So we'll just call it generally as foci without F1, F2 here, just the coordinates. So from the center, we know that from the center to foci, the distance is C. Okay, this is C. And this is also C. Okay. Now, if you consider this triangle class, so we have here our distance D1, distance from this point towards this foci. So we call this distance as D1. Okay, and then we have here another distance, we call it D2. So if the point, this one, coordinates here is from center to the vertex, we have from this center to the vertex that is equal to A. Remember, this is equal to A. Alright, but this is the negative from 0. So this is negative A. And similarly, on the other side, we have A also. From the center towards this point, this is also A. But this is positive because it's at the right side of this point, the origin. Okay, so if the coordinates of the vertex on the left, coordinates A and, from the right, if the coordinates from the right, vertex of the ellipse, so we have here the distance. So you can take either this one class or this one, but here it is indicated that positive A and 0, so we're referring to this point, okay, this vertex. So we're considering this one. So if this point with these coordinates is a vertex of the ellipse, then the distance from this, from this point with coordinates, meaning this one, to this one, so how will you from C1 to A sub 0 is this one class. which is equal to a plus c. So this is just the distance between 2 points. So distance between 2 points. So if you say, for example, calculate this one, okay, you call this d. So d is simply distance between 2 points. So we have x2 minus x1 if you consider this as x2 minus x1. So meaning a minus, this is so from this point to that point. So we have a minus c. So a minus c. So from here to there. Okay, so a from here, from this point to this point. So a minus c. All right, which is equal to a plus c. You got the idea, class? How to? It's just like having a reference here. Okay, so if you take this reference here, something like this. Okay, so we have here a, and then we have from the reference this is c. So to get this distance, we have this distance is simply a minus c, where our c is to the left, minus c. So that's why we have a plus c. So we get this a plus c. Okay, this is it. This is the one that is being explained here. Then the distance from c to this one, c to, meaning this point here to this point, is equal to, so same process, take this as reference. We have a, okay, we have a minus c. So why a minus c? So it's like this, class. So this is, so assuming this is our reference, so from here to there we have a, okay, but this one, this is our c. Okay, this is our c. So to solve this distance, so this is just a minus c. So this distance here, a minus c. So we got this one. So the sum of the distances from the foci to the vertex, no, from the foci to the vertex, is simply a plus c, which is this one, no, this one. Then plus a minus c, which is equal to, so we have a plus c plus a minus c equal to, so we have c, positive, negative c, so a plus a is 2a, so 2a. So this is the distance, class, which is the constant distance. So from you see here, this is the sum of the distances, from foci to the vertex. So it's given by this a plus c, which is this one and this one here. So we combine this. These are the two distances, and we got this 2a. Now, if x and y is a point on the ellipse, then we can define the following variables. So we have d1, the distance from this point with this coordinate to x, y, this one. So we are considering this distance. And d2 is from here, from this point, coordinate c, and to the same. So it means we are considering now this sides, class, this length. of this triangle. So by definition of an ellipse, d1 plus d2 is a constant for any point xy on the ellipse. So we know that the sum of these distances is equal to 2a. Okay, we have already calculated that. For the vertex, this vertex, referring to this vertex, coordinates a and 0, it follows that d1 and d2 is equal to 2a. So for any point on the ellipse, we will begin the derivation by applying the distance formula. And the rest of the derivation is algebraic, which we can see here. Okay, so these are the details. So d1 plus d2, and then using those coordinates. So d1 is just it's a right triangle, so we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So we just get the distance between 2 points. Okay, applying the distance between 2 points. So our d1 is this, plus our d2 is this, using distance formula. So this is distance formula. And then the right side is equal to 2a. Okay, simplifying expressions. So we can simplify here. Minus minus, it becomes plus. So that's why it becomes plus here. Then y minus 0 is y squared. Okay. And then plus square root of x minus c. Then we have here y minus 0 squared. So y minus 0, that is still y. And then equal to 2a. So we have simplified the equation into this. Then after that, after simplifying expression, then we transpose one of the radicals to the other side. Okay, so considering this radical, we have this part here. So transposing this to another side, okay, this becomes like this. So move radical to the opposite side. So this radical that we moved. And then after that, we square both sides. So squaring both sides, so when you square this side here, so the index of the radical, which is 2, and the power or exponent is equal to 2, cancels out. So that's why you've noticed here that there's no radical anymore here on this part, because we take the square root in this part. So taking square on this part. So the index here is 2, the exponent here is 2, that cancels out. So therefore we have here on the left side only this. And on the right side, we have here, this is our first term, consider this as second term. So square this, and then you expand. So you just consider this as u minus v. So this is our v, okay, and this is our u. So use the formula u minus v square, which is equal to u squared minus 2uv plus v squared. So this is the expansion of this binomial, which we can see here. Okay, this is the result of expansion. So we're expanding the squares here. Then after that, we have to expand the remaining squares, because we have here the remaining squares, this one. Okay, expand that also, and then combine similar terms or like terms. So this is what we get, this one, after combining similar terms. Okay, and then after that, we isolate the radical. So put the radical in one side. Okay, in this case, we put the radical on the right side, and then put something else to the left side. Like for example, this one here. We have minus 2cx. Transpose this to other side, and you combine this with another 2cx, so that's why it becomes 4cx. Okay, and then we move this to the other side also, this one. Transpose this to the left, that's why we have negative. Okay, so we have here, when you transpose this to the left, this becomes negative. And then you transpose this to the left, you combine with this 2cx, because this one becomes positive 2cx. So we have now 4cx minus 4 squared equal to, so the right side, the radical and its coefficient, this one. Then after that, since there's a common here is 4, right? Factoring out common, and we have also 4 on the other side. You divide both sides by 4. Okay, divide both sides by 4, so that's why we have the new expression becomes like this. And then to eliminate the radical, so let's take square on both sides once again. So when you square this, okay, squaring both sides, and then expand, expand the squares. So when you square this one, radical will, the index here, which is 2, and this exponent, which is 2 also, so cancels. So the result will be this one, okay. Okay, and then you expand this one, okay, expanding this, so we have this expansion. And on the right side, when you square both sides, the a here, this one, negative a, when you square that one, that becomes positive a squared. And then this index and the power or the exponent cancel, so that's why we have this one here. But since this is binomial, so you expand this one here, which is equal to this one, then combine with this remaining y squared here. Okay, so this is now the right side after squaring it and then expanding and then combining similar terms. And here we have to distribute e squared. Distribute this e squared like this. So distribute and multiply. So we got this result. Okay, and then look at the left side and the right side. See if you can combine similar terms. Like for example, this one, c squared x squared. Do we have c squared x squared? Okay, we don't have. We don't have a similar term here. Okay, so we just rewrite. Now rewriting. We have e squared cx. So do we have here a term minus 2a squared cx? We have minus 2e squared cx. They are both negative. So we can cancel this one, this part. So what is left here is e squared x squared minus we have c squared. We transpose this to other side. Okay, transpose this to the left side, so we have this. Sorry, this is okay. E squared x squared. E squared x squared. Okay, so let's find similar terms here. So we can reduce. So we have e to the fourth. So we have e to the fourth. Okay. And then e squared, e squared. So this one, positive. And then combined with e to the fourth. Okay, then transpose this. E to the fourth is on the left side, and we have here this one. You transpose this to the left side, so this is positive, so this becomes negative. Okay, and then just rearrange, rewrite it. Okay, so when you transpose this to the left side, this becomes the left side. We have e to the fourth. When you transpose this becomes negative. All right, and we have this term here. This term, okay, this one combined with this. Okay, so a squared, so it means that this part here is transposed to the other side. Transpose this to the right side and combined in just rearrange. So we have here ax squared on the right side. When you transpose this to the right side, this becomes minus, so we have this result. Okay, and then we have another a squared y squared here, this part here. Okay, and then you combine it here. So that's why on the left side, after combining and rewriting them, so we have here on the left side this one, and on the right side we have this, and then factor out common, which is in this case we have x squared. So factoring out common for this term or terms. So common here is x squared. So factoring out, so we have e squared minus c squared. Then plus e squared y equal to e squared times e squared minus c squared. Okay? And then we have here e squared minus c squared. So this part here, this is just equivalent to b squared. Okay, so that's why here on the next line, it becomes e squared b squared, because this is just equivalent to b squared. On the right side, we have e squared minus c squared, that is also b squared. Okay, this part is also equal to b squared. Okay, so therefore we have x squared and this term equal to x squared b squared plus e squared y squared equal to e squared b squared. Okay, so now we have common on both sides. What is common on both sides? Okay, we will just divide both sides by e squared b squared. So when the right side is divided by e squared b squared, so it becomes like this. Okay, and when you divide e squared b squared by e squared b squared, this becomes 1. And on the left side, when you divide this, we have e squared b squared, e squared. Okay, we have e squared and e squared cancels. On the other side, we have b squared and b squared cancels. So that's why we have here x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equal to 1. Okay, so this is the derivation class. So we do here factor the common terms, then set. We use this equivalent. B squared equal to e squared minus c squared, and then divide both sides by e squared b squared and simplify. So we got this. Thus, the standard equation of an ellipse is given by this equation. X squared divided by a squared plus y squared divided by b squared equal to 1. So this equation defines an ellipse centered at the origin. The center is at the origin, where a is greater than b. The ellipse is stretched farther in the horizontal direction. And if b is greater than a, then the ellipse is stretched farther on the vertical direction. Okay, so this is how the standard equation of an ellipse is derived. So take note, this is the general note that we have for the standard form of the equation of an ellipse with center at 0, 0. So the standard form of the equation of an ellipse with center 0, 0 is given by this: x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equal to 1, where the first one, a is greater than b. Okay, a greater than b. And the length of the major axis is equal to 2a. So remember this. And the coordinates of the vertices is plus minus a and 0. So we have v1 coordinates is on the left, we have minus a and 0. On the right, we have v2 coordinates a, positive a and 0. So this is what is meant by this one. And the length of the minor axis is 2b. Okay, so our ellipse looks like this, something like this, like that. So this is the major axis, this is the minor axis, and center at the origin 0, 0. Okay, this is our y-axis, this is our x-axis. And the coordinates of the co-vertices, these are the co-vertices. This one, we call this a while ago b1, and this is our b2. This is our v1, and this is our v2. So the coordinates of the co-vertices. So for this one, since this is on the same axis, y-axis, at y-axis x equal to 0, okay, x equal to 0, and y, since this is b, okay, this is b, so going up, positive b, then again, b2, coordinates, this is still on the y-axis, so the abscissa is also 0, then since b is below the x-axis, so this is minus b, okay, this is what is meant by this one. And the coordinates of the foci, so we know that foci is plus or minus c from the center. From the center, this is the center. So assuming this is our c, the distance from here is c. Okay, so for if you call this as f1, then f1 has coordinates. C is to the left of 0, so this is minus c. And since this is on the x-axis, so the ordinate is 0. And assuming this is f2, so the coordinates of f2, again, since this is to the right of from the center, so to the right, which is this is c also, since that is to the right, so that is positive c. Okay, and then the ordinate here, since this is on the x-axis, so that is also equal to 0. All right, and remember that c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. That is, the original equation is from Pythagorean theorem. A squared, this is the hypotenuse, equal to b squared plus c squared. It is taken from this equation, Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Then the standard form of the equation of ellipse with center 0, 0 and major axis on the y-axis. So take note that this one is on the x-axis, the major axis. But if the major axis is on the y-axis, so we have this expression class. X squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared equal to 1. So remember that whatever is the bigger number under which variable, for example, here we have y squared, and then a, assuming a is larger than b, then we can say that the major axis is on the y-axis. So again, the same condition here, a is greater than b, and the length of the major axis is still equal to 2a. Okay, the ellipse looks like this now, something like this. So this is still a, and this is b. Okay, so the coordinates of the vertices is 0 and a. So these are the vertices class. It's v1, this is v2. So for the abscissa of this v1, since this is on the y-axis, that is 0. And this is a, so going up from the center, so that is positive a. Below, that is still 0, the abscissa is 0. Then since this is below the x-axis, this is a, so this is minus a. Okay, so this is the meaning of this one. So the length of the minor axis is 2b, so it means that this is b and this is also b here. So the core vertices, so we have here b1, this is b2. So the coordinates of b1 in terms of abscissa, this is minus b. Okay, then for the ordinate, since this is on the x-axis, that is equal to 0. And b here, the b2, the abscissa, since this is to the right of the center or from the origin, so that is positive b. And this is also 0 because ordinate of this line, this coordinate is on the x-axis, so that is equal to 0. All right, so this is the meaning of this. The coordinates of the foci, so the foci class is, we know that the foci is distance from the center towards the this point here. If you call this as F1 and call this point here as F2, so what are the coordinates? So for F1, the coordinates of F1, so since the point F1 is on the y-axis, the abscissa is still equal to 0. Okay, and then going up, since this is C, okay, so that is positive C, and this is also C. Okay, so F2, so the coordinates of F2, again, this is on the same line. The point lies on the y-axis, so the abscissa is equal to 0, but the ordinate here, since this is below the origin, below the x-axis, so this is minus C. Okay, and again, the relationship is that C squared equal to A squared minus B squared, taken again from A squared, from Pythagorean theorem, equal to B squared plus C squared. Originally, this is the equation, but since we're talking about C, so we use this. You just transpose this to other side. Okay, so note that the vertices, the co-vertices and the foci are related to this equation, C squared equal to A squared minus B squared. So when you are given the coordinates of the foci and the vertices of the ellipse, we can use this relationship to find the equation of the ellipse in standard form. Okay, so in summary, we have this. For the major axis, the x-axis, so we have this ellipse. For the major axis, which is the y-axis, so we have this ellipse, and these are the corresponding coordinates. And again, as I've mentioned in the first video about ellipse, so we have a line that is perpendicular to the major axis passing to the focus. We call it latus rectum. And we have another line here passing again perpendicular to the major axis, and this is what we call latus rectum, and both of them called latera recta, plural. So you can call this as Q1, and Q2. We have here point Q3, point Q4. So in graphing an ellipse class, we need all these points, the points that you have seen here, the vertices, okay, and the vertices, the foci, right, the center, and the ends of the latera recta, meaning Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So we need the coordinates of all these points. So how many points do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 points, class, that we need when we graph an ellipse. Okay, for the major axis that is on the y-axis, so this is still A, class. Okay, and we have again here the latus rectum, a line perpendicular to the major axis. This is our major axis, the y-axis. So this line here is also called the latus rectum. So this is, you can call this as Q1, Q2, and another latus rectum is here. You can call this as Q3 and Q4. So again, we have 11 points. When we graph our ellipse, we have to show the coordinates of 11 points. Okay? Okay, this slide shows us the two possible scenarios of our ellipse when its center is at the origin. So the first one here, figure 6a, horizontal ellipse with center at the origin, 0, 0. Okay, this graph. And the other one, B, vertical ellipse with center at the origin, coordinates also 0, 0. So here we have the major axis as the x-axis and y as the minor axis for case A, horizontal ellipse with center 0, 0 or origin. Okay, so we have here the coordinates of the vertex V1. Okay, this vertex here, we call this V1. Since the distance of V1 from the origin is equal to A, and then since this is on the left side of the origin, so this should be negative A for the abscissa, and the ordinate, since this is on the x-axis, then the ordinate is equal to 0. And for V2, on this point, okay, so we have V2, so the coordinates is for the abscissa, so right side of the origin, distance from the center of this ellipse to its vertex is equal to A, then going to the right, so positive A. And the ordinate is, again, since the point lies on the x-axis, the ordinate is equal to 0. Alright, now for the co-vertices, so we have here the point, let's call this point as B1. So the abscissa of this point B1 is 0, since the point lies on the y-axis, so the abscissa is equal to 0. And from the center towards this point B1, this is the half of the minor axis, which is equal to B. Since this is above the x-axis, then B here is positive. And then from the center down to point B2 at this point here, so again the point here lies on the y-axis, then the abscissa is equal to 0, and the ordinate is negative B, since this is below the x-axis. And for the foci, so we know that foci, we can call this point as this point here, let's start from this, as F1. So we know that the distance from the center to any of the foci is equal to C. So from this center, which is the origin, going to the left, so C is negative. Okay, and then for the ordinate, since this point lies on the x-axis, then the ordinate is equal to 0. And on the right side of the origin, the center of this ellipse, so the distance from the center to this foci here equal to C, and then since this is to the right of the origin, so this is positive C, and again the ordinate is 0, since the point lies on the x-axis. Okay, so these are the important points, and the other points is the ends of the latus rectum. So latus rectum is defined as the line that is perpendicular to the major axis passing through the foci or to the focus. So this is the latus rectum passing F1, and let this point be equal to Q1, and let this point be equal to Q2. So this length is the length of the latus rectum, and we have another latus rectum here, also passing to focus 2, F2. Okay, this point here, and perpendicular to the major axis. And let us call this point as Q3, and here let us call this point as Q4. Okay, so both of this latus rectum and this latus rectum, both of them are called latera recta. So these are the ends of the latera recta, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. You can denote this or designate this any letter you want. Okay, so these are the important points of an ellipse with major axis at the x-axis. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So horizontally we have 5 points. Then vertically we have 6, 7. Then we have 8, 9, and then 10, 11. So we have 11 important points. So when we graph our ellipse, we need the coordinates of these important points, 11 points. Okay, so this is for the horizontal ellipse with center at 0, 0. For the vertical ellipse, like this one, so again, we have here the center 0, 0. Okay, the center 0, 0. And we know that if the ellipse is vertical, so the major axis is the y-axis, and the minor axis is at the x-axis. And the distance from the center to the ends of this, or of the major axis, or we call it vertex, or the vertices. So we have here the vertices. We call this vertex as v1, and we call this vertex as v2. So the coordinates of v1, if you look at this point at v1, so this point lies on the y-axis, so therefore the abscissa is equal to 0. And we know that the distance from the center of this ellipse to the vertex is a. So the ordinate of this point v1 is equal to positive a, since this is above the x-axis. Then going downward, so again, this is a, the distance from the center towards v2, and the distance a, since this is below the x-axis, so this is negative a. And since this point also lies on the y-axis, then the abscissa here is equal to 0. Okay, and ends of the minor axis, we call this co-vertices. So we can call this point here on the left side as b1, and on the right side we can call this as b2. And we know that the length from the center to b1 is b, small letter b, and to the right is small letter b as well. And the distance, since this distance b is to the left, from the origin to the left, so we have negative b as its abscissa. And the ordinate is, since this is lying on the x-axis, then the ordinate is equal to 0. And similarly, to the right of this origin or center of this ellipse, to the right, the distance is b, so the abscissa here is positive b to the right, and the ordinate is again is equal to 0, since the point, this point here, lies on the x-axis. So the coordinates are b to, therefore quantity b and 0. And we have another two important points called foci. So we can call this point here as f1, okay, and let us call this point here as f2. Okay, so since this point f1 and f2 lies on the y-axis also, so the abscissas are 0. So this is 0, okay, and this is also 0. But in terms of its ordinate, the ordinate is the distance from this center of this ellipse towards this f1. So going up, positive, because this is above the x-axis, so we have positive c. But going down, okay, going down, so this is negative c, below the x-axis. And again, we have here a line called latus rectum, is a perpendicular to the major axis, passing to the focus, in this case f1. Okay, this line passing f1, so this is our latus rectum number 1. We can call this point as q1, here q2. So we have here latus rectum LR. And another latus rectum is this line perpendicular to the major axis, passing f2. So let us call this point as q3, and this point here as q4. Okay, and this is also latus rectum. Then both of these latus rectum, they are called latera recta. So q1, q2, q3, q4 are the ends of the latera recta. So take note of the terms, class. Okay, So I hope you got this information well, and I hope that you'll be able to remember them and understand them. So in graphing an ellipse, you need important points, and they are 11 points in both of these cases class, horizontal ellipse and vertical ellipse. So you need to write all those important points, the coordinates of those points. Okay, so I think that's all for this part. So how to, given the vertices and foci of an ellipse centered at the origin, how to write its equation in standard form. So these are the steps class that we need to follow. So determine whether the major axis lies on the x or y axis. Then, if the given coordinates of the vertices and foci have the form, this form, and this form, respectively, then the major axis is the x-axis. And then you have to use the standard form. X squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equal to 1. If the given coordinates of the vertices and foci have the form something like this, and this one respectively, then the major axis is the y-axis, and we need to use this standard form. Okay, and again we have to use this equation because they are related to this equation. The a, b, and c are related to this equation along the given coordinates of the vertices and foci to solve for b squared. Then substitute the values of e squared and b squared into the standard form of the equation determined in step 1. So this is our step 1. Okay, so that's it, and I hope you've understood our discussion, and now we can practice this one. I will show you the solution to this problem in the next video. So for now, this is it. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again in the next video. Bye.